Okay, so today we're going to go and have a look and a catch up with the house build, but before we did, I thought we'd bring you guys back across to Trent just to show you a bit of what's going on. So we've got a new product line coming in soon, probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, so we'll try and get you some of that and show you that as we get to it. We've got some big news coming later in the year. When we took Trent over, one of the things that we concentrated our efforts on was the trade counter side. Like I said before, existing trade counter was quite poor, it was quite small, and what we wanted to do was increase that side of it and open a far bigger trade counter area with a lot more selection. So we've, like I said before, we've got the power tools, we've got all your workwear and gear and a real good selection of work boots and all that sort of stuff. We've got all your high vis, we've got all your PPE, and then we've got all your fasteners and fixings that obviously Trent has always stocked anyway. Now, when we took on some of the big brand stuff, one of the deals was I wanted to stock STIHL. Now, we at Fowler Gilbert, we will always use disc cutting saws. Them disc cutters, we always stick with STIHL. To me, they're by far the best. Personal preference on chainsaw as well is again STIHL. So I wanted to stock STIHL as a brand. Now, STIHL are not the easiest to deal with, because in order to get the discount so you can compete with everybody, you have to take STIHL's entire range. Now, I was quite dubious at the time, because that meant that not only we've got to take STIHL saws, as in disc cutters, chainsaws, they wanted us to take the battery range, they wanted us to take the lawn mowers, they wanted to take the leaf blowers, and I was a bit sceptical because that's not really ever been Trent's marketplace. However, what I will say is we've took it on. Chainsaws fly out the door. We're doing stacks and stacks of chainsaws, which is great. STIHL saws, as in disc cutters, loads of them. The battery range, now that the sun has come out, has took off as well. So a lot more of your DIY type stuff in terms of garden maintenance. All of that gear's flying out the door. And for the last week and a half, while we've had this sunshine, the range of lawnmowers has been flying out as well. So I think they've just sold about 5 in the last 3 days, which is brilliant. So the stock that I thought we'd end up lumbered with in order to get the right discount on the stuff that we were going to sell lots of is not happened, and it is flying out the door. So if you are in the market for a new lawnmower, this is your place. So that's Trent, or a little update on Trent. We'll nip round to the house build now, because Wayne's round there. I know he's putting copper in at the moment for all the plumbing, and I think the waste is going in as well. So we'll show you some of that and explain what it's all about. Back on the house build. This is the utility room, and this is where all the water and the heating pipes come in from the plant room. What we've got to do is we've got to get it into here. There's a manifold that services all the underfloor heating on the ground floor, and like I said before, we've had the block and beam floor put in to support underfloor heating on the first floor as well. So it's causing a few little issues there, because obviously getting what we need round everywhere, and I don't want to lose ceiling height. So why that's caused us a few issues is basically where we're sending all the pipe work to service that bathroom upstairs is we need to make sure we're within the voids. Like I said, I don't want to lose ceiling height, and basically what we've got to do is we've got to put these brackets on to suspend the timber stud ceiling that we're putting in. So basically this bracket here, you knock that in to where the block and beam meet. So if that's sort of the side of the beam as such, so that's the beam here, and then the blocks sit in here. So in this gap here is where we're basically sitting that, knocking that in, and then these two bits that hang down, basically what you do is, I've not got the right section size of timber here, but if that was the section size of timber, that would go in there, and then basically we could screw through the side to give us the right height, and at that point, when you've screwed through the sides, you would then fold that round and obviously fix through the bottom, and that creates just a hanger then, a little bit like a joist hanger in a way, but works slightly different, that all your ceiling is suspended off. Now, because I didn't want to lose any ceiling height, it meant that using these and reducing the timber to, not that, but to the minimal section that we can do, so we can still fit all the light fittings in, meant that we hadn't really got the runs to be able to put the bigger 4-inch poo pipe. So what we've sort of done is we've put the main poo pipe going in this boxing section, and then from there we've teed off with just the minimal waste pipes that we need to service each area, like the sink, the shower, the bathtub. And then obviously all we've got to do then is sort the vent pipe out after that, which I think Wayne has also done in the smaller section pipe that vents further on up. So we've got to create a box along this side here where all the pipes are going. Then we can service the bathroom, which is directly above. We've got to get obviously up to them tanks in the loft area for the water tanks that are up there. So ultimately from the plant room, the mains all come into this corner here. So I'll show you what that is. So basically what we've got is these two feeds are for the underfloor heating. So they will come off and go into copperwork, go into a manifold that then feeds down here. And there'll also be one of the supplies that goes up to the next floor to the second manifold, which supplies the upstairs. And this one is the hot water feed for all of your taps in your kitchen, your bathrooms, and everything. So the main hot water feed is coming in this one, and that's then piped all around the house. And then what we want is, I think it's called a secondary return or something like that. Anyway, basically when you put your tap on in your house and you have to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait for the hot water to come through, I don't want that. I want the hot water to be pretty much instant. The way to do that is to put this secondary return in or something, so that the hot water is constantly flowing through this pipe, servicing all the house, and at the furthest point where this pipe goes to, as in the end of the loop, we then put the loop back all the way, so that that hot water goes all the way around and is constantly doing a big massive loop. So when you do put the hot tap on, it's only from here, for argument's sake, to the sink, as in that much water's worth that you've got to wait before you get hot water. So that way there's hot water constantly flowing around the house the whole time through all the pipe work, and you're not waiting for the hot water supply. We're putting everything that's got decent stop valves on as well in the house that I presently live in. The guy that did the work in that for me didn't put us anything anywhere. So whenever we've needed to change a washer on a tap or anything like that, we've been absolutely goosed. You've got to turn you've got to remember where the stop tap is, turn it off, and then obviously you can't turn it off local and do whatever you want to do. So we're having these put sort of pretty much everywhere. So this is coming in, this is then going to feed, we've got a sink in here, which is the utility room. Then, like I say, it's got to go around the rest of the house, and eventually, I think the furthest point is actually the kitchen sink. So that's that, and then it goes all the way up, and as you can see, along there. Got a few other bits coming in on this corner as well. So these copper pipes here are coming, we're having aircon in certain rooms of the house. So basically we've got aircon pipes coming in here, which are going to service the living room and the master bedroom. So these pipes come in, and then there's basically the electricity goes through, because the electricity is all run from the outside unit. So then all we've got is the pipes that are piping up the machine, and the inside machines are run electrically from the outside unit. So you've got to connect them up, and then obviously the data data cable then for the monitoring of the temperature and adjusting it. So they're going to go up and be piped again all behind the wall. There'll be a false wall across here to hide all of this, and then this has got some kitchen units going in with a sink and the washing machine and the tumble dryer. Kitchen we've done slightly different. I'll show you what we've done there. So in the kitchen then, the main kitchen area is over that end there. So we've got kitchen units all the way going around the outside, and we've got an island that we want to put in the middle if we can fit it in. This end we've also got like a bit of a wall. We've got a TV. Originally we had like a false breast going in here, which was going to have a TV put in, so a little bit of like a media wall with a fake electric fire on the underside. We're done away with the fire now, because I think by the time the dining table's in here, we haven't really got the room, you're not going to see the fire. So what we've done is we've made a wall of units effectively here, and we've still got the TV built in, but the aircon unit, so the kitchen we would treat as probably the most used room within the house, and we sort of live in the kitchen dining area. So what we want to do is make sure, because the sun sort of sets on this side, so we're getting all the heat coming through the big bifolds and the kitchen window for the later part of the day. The kitchen is at the same end of the existing house that we live in now, and as soon as you start cooking as well, with that sun shining through them where you've got all the glaze in, it does get really hot, so that's why we're putting the aircon in. But what I didn't want, in the temporary house it was fine, we had the aircon unit mounted on the wall, but I think they're ugly and I didn't want anything mounted within here. So whether this works, and I hope it does, I've come up with the idea of we've mounted the actual cassette unit within the garage, and I've ducted the pipes from the garage into the house, so we haven't got to have that unit. And then basically these pipes that I've got coming through, which is just standard ducting, 4-inch ducting, instead of running any services through, we're basically going to put them on behind this false wall, and we're going to use, there's 4 of them, so 2 will be to remove the air from the room and 2 will be to supply new cooled air into the room. So then basically once this wall is built, there'll be at most a couple of vents. I want to try and even hide that because I don't want to see the vents because I think they look ugly as well. So instead of supplying services, these are just going to be supplying the cold air into the room, or if you're using, because aircon works both ways, you can heat with aircon, so we could be using it to heat if that works out to be required as a bit of a top up to the underfloor heating. I don't know, but basically that's the idea. So the main cassette unit, like I say, is in the garage, and we're just supplying the air to and from underground, which I can't see why it wouldn't work, because it's no different than having, like we've got at Fowler and Gilbert in the offices, we've got a machine sat within a loft that's ducted to whatever area we want, and it's just the same as that, except it goes underground instead of overhead. So I think it'll work. Justin, the aircon man, he thinks it'll work and it should be fine, so fingers crossed that will. Okay, so we're upstairs in the bathroom now. So what we've got now is we've got the hot and cold feed coming through the floor for the sink. We've got the same again for the bath. So we've got a freestanding bath going in here, and we've got freestanding taps. So where they come through the floor is sort of imperative we get it in the right place. So we've Wayne's knocked a couple of holes in that block there, as in spun them through, sent the pipes through, then obviously we can insulate it where it comes through the insulation and the screed that's got to be put in here yet. And then that will service and clip onto the freestanding taps that we've got coming over the end of the freestanding bath, so that'll be pretty good. Then we've got the cold water feed coming through to where the toilets go in there, and then there's a big hole spun in for the poo pipe to go in, so that's fine. And again, all of this will be sort of hidden behind everything. And then we've got the 2 feeds coming in to feed the shower unit as well. So the units that are going where the shower is, they're going in the wall, if you like, so they're going to get plastered over afterwards, so they're sort of hidden and you can't see any of that pipes. But then we've got an exposed shower valve is what we're going for. So then that's it on the house build for today. We're going to come back next time we come to the house build. We'll be installing all this insulation, which Travis has just dropped off. So this is the insulation that's going to go under the floor screed, so we put that in first, then we put the membrane, then we put the underfloor heating pipes, and then we do the screed. So we'll bring you that in another video when we get round to doing it. But if you like what you've seen, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll leave you with a very, very tiny house build montage.